to TalkFCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys. And once again here today, we're looking forward. That's the most important thing right now. We're looking at this season, we're learning from that, we're looking ahead to next season, and most importantly, how are we going to shape up? What is that team going to look like? How is the core of that team going to change? And in today's video, we're going to be looking at what's happened this season. We're going to be looking at what our most used squad has been, how that may change, how the squad roles may change looking ahead to next season, and most importantly, how the likes of Antoine Griezmann, Matthijs de Ligt, and Frenkie de Jong, how they're going to add to that squad, what they're going to give us, and most importantly, towards the end here, we're going to be looking at the formation, the setup, and the entire structure, really, of that team, and exactly how we should be expecting Barcelona, whoever the coach may be, how we should be expecting us to play come next season. It's all coming up. Strap yourselves in. This one should be fun. And the reason for that is, guys, yes, the majority of us do think that a new change would be certainly necessary. A fresh face in the managerial position is absolutely vital for me, and Ernesto Valverde should leave this summer and still could certainly happen following the Copa del Rey final. But whatever happens, what I'm going to say in this video is this is how Barcelona should be. This is how we should play. This is the setup that we should have, and these are the foundations, really, right throughout our team that we should always have. Doesn't matter who the coach is, doesn't matter who comes in, doesn't matter who stays. This is what Barcelona should be for me. Griezmann, De Jong, and De Ligt, they add a new dimension, they add a lot of the characteristics that we know from Barcelona, and towards the end, the lineup that I'm going to look at, and the way we're going to be playing, I think personally, it does look, on paper at least, so exciting. But first, we have to start with this season, the core of those players out there on the park. What have they done? What are we going to do? And what are we going to change looking the next season? What if I told you here that this lineup here, the 11 players there, are the most used players from Barcelona's season 2018 to 2019. These are the most used 11 of the Barcelona first team. Marc-Andre ter Stegen in goal, Alba, Longley, Piqué, Semedo along the back four, and it's usually been a midfield four there with the likes of Roberto. He can pop into midfield most often, of course, he's been defence as well. Coutinho can play in a front three, but has often played in that wide left role, more attack-minded, and Busquets and Rakitic they're holding in the centre of midfield with Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez leading the line. And it wouldn't surprise you at all if I said the average age of that lineup right there is 28 and a half. 28 and a half there is certainly an aging group. Many of those players are over 30 years old, and we've certainly seen that right throughout the season so far. And if there was one massive aspect that I could change from this most used team here, it would be this. I believe in that team. There are some very good players. I think some of that team will end up leaving us in the summer, but I think the basic foundations are very good. The one thing that I would change is the management, because I think there, looking at that team, looking at a lot of those players, how many of those there do you feel right throughout the season so far have been comfortable, really comfortable in their roles, because they know if they go out there, if they're fit, if they're ready to play, most likely they're going to be in the team. Gerard Piqué most likely is always going to be in the team. Jordi Alba, exactly the same. Sergio Roberto, when he's fit, he usually plays no matter what. Ivan Rakitic, Sergio Busquets, they know they're going to be out there. Even Felipe Coutinho, you almost feel at times like Ernesto Valverde is playing him out there, even out of position most of the time, simply because of that big transfer fee. And of course, Luis Suarez leading the line. He knows, of course, he's got a great combination on and off the pitch with Lionel Messi, and he knows that the majority of the time he is going to be leading that line simply because, much like Alba this season, we've had nobody else to push him. But of course, with the arrival of Griezmann and many other of these players here are going to be under much more pressure going into next season, and that for me, that alone makes it exciting, because a lot of these players, they're going to have to work that much harder, and competition for places, it should be big. And the simple reason for that is the three players that we're bringing in are absolutely massive acquisitions. Matthijs de Ligt here in the centre of defence, a very big addition. The same for Frenkie de Jong, and the same there for Antoine Griezmann. They're going to come in and immediately put massive pressure on those around them, pushing them, really trying to get in the lineup and trying to make themselves there undoubtedly the big players in their particular roles. And I'm going to say here at the centre defence, I believe somebody there has to leave. Samuel Umtiti is a possibility. Maybe Todibo is going to go out on loan. You look into the midfield, we all know the Rakitic is subject of a lot of speculation there regarding his future. And in the attack, Felipe Coutinho certainly is going to be one of those players who we could make very big money off this summer, and we really do need to. But if you look at De Ligt first and foremost, and the reason I put him in the centre is, I believe there, he's going to put pressure on everyone. He's going to put pressure on Gerard Piqué, he's going to put pressure on Clement Longley, because he's going to want to play. And I believe really, yes, he's a right centre-back. Ideally, we'd like to have a right footer and a left footer, and we'd like to play there with a good balance. But at the same time, De Ligt is going to play either of those. He's going to put pressure on everybody that he can, and all he's going to want is minutes in this Barcelona first team. And for that reason there, nobody at centre-back is safe. De Ligt is coming for your role. He's going to be working hard. We know that he has the talent. We know that already, even at the young age that he is, he's got that bravery, he's got that leadership, and most importantly, he has self-belief that he can play here, and for that reason, nobody around him in that area, nobody can feel like they're definite starters. And you move into midfield, and for me, Frenkie de Jong does exactly the same thing in that kind of role. And the best thing about Frenkie de Jong is, you can't just limit him here to a holding midfielder. He's not just coming for the position there of Sergio Busquets. He's not just coming to eventually take over from Busquets and maybe push Rakitic. No. Frenkie de Jong is going to be absolutely everywhere in that midfield because he can play here in a deeper role, but he's also capable of playing here as a 6 in this role here, breaking from midfield. We know that he's got the legs, we know that he has ability on the ball, he can carry the ball, he's very, very good at that, and I believe again there, he's going to come into that midfield and immediately put pressure on Busquets. We all know about that. Busquets is going to be fully aware of somebody coming in trying to take his position. Rakitic may not even be there next season. Players like Arturo Vidal, we all know about the technical quality of de Jong, and I think we're going to see that very, very early on in his Barcelona career. And of course, since the very, very first minute that he was announced as a Barcelona player, we have all been looking forward to that combination in the midfield there, in the very centre, the heart of Barcelona, that combination with Arthur Melo. De Jong, Arthur Melo, it just sounds right. And then of course, you look to the attack. Somebody, like I say, in Suarez last season, who had a decent season by all accounts, but at the same time, he needed pushing. There was times when he shouldn't have played, there was times when he should have been replaced, but there was nobody there really to put that pressure on. Welcome now, potentially, Antoine Griezmann. Somebody there who's going to come in, 28 years old, in the prime of his career, desperate to prove a point, desperate to endear himself to the Barcelona supporters. He is going to put immediate pressure on Luis Suarez in that central area. But as we're going to come on to, much like de Jong here, Griezmann is also versatile. He's not somebody here who's just an out-and-out number 9. He's not somebody who's just a poacher. He can come deep. He can certainly go out wide. He's got the pace. He's got the mobility to get around that front 3. And I believe there he's going to give us big, big options, both in terms of scoring goals and also providing Messi there with that all-important space. I think Griezmann there gives us many options. He gives a huge boost there. He pushes Suarez when we really, really do need somebody to come in, give us that goal threat, especially on the big Champions League nights. Griezmann could be massive and could be a big signing. But how about this? This is what we all came to see right here and now, the starting lineup potentially of Barcelona in next season at some stage. If you said, look, I'm playing a Champions League final tomorrow, what sort of lineup would you like to see Barcelona once they've gelled, once they've really struck up that combination between them? This, for me, would be unbelievable. Now, I'm not saying to players like Suarez, players like Longley, they're never going to get back in the team, they're never going to get any game time. Right throughout the season, you are going to get game time, no doubt about that. But right now, just have a look at the options that De Ligt, De Jong and Griezmann could give us in that starting lineup. You've got Ter Stegen in goal, you've got Alba there at left back, and for me, Nelson Semedo there, the out-and-out right back, very comfortable there as a more defensive player on that right-hand side. Because for me, with your fullbacks, one should be going forward, one should be very attack-minded, and one should be slightly less reserved. What you do have to have, though, when you do play Semedo, is somebody on this right-hand side. Here, you have Dembele on his natural side. He loves to play on the right. That's his best side for me on the right-hand side. He links up very well there with Semedo. They've got a very, very good partnership. At the centre of the defence here, De Ligt to the left, Piqué to the right. Yes, they're both right-footers, but at the end of the day, that has happened in the past. You look at Piqué, you look at Puyol, you look at Mascherano, you look at Piqué. They have played together, they can play together, and for me there, that would be massive there at the centre of our defence. And what about that midfield? What can you say here about that midfield? Busquets holding, Arthur here, De Jong here, somebody there who can carry the ball. He can also drop in. If you want to make it a bit more reserved, you can go with Busquets and De Jong as a pivot there in midfield. Those are two players there, much, much technically better than what we've got right now in our current midfield. And that there looks much more like a Barcelona type midfield. That there can dominate the ball. That there can be press resistant. I think there, going to a 3 in midfield, basing your entire team there around that midfield could certainly happen and would be much, much more Barcelona orientated. And then you come to the attack. Dembele from the right, you all know what he can give, but it's all about Messi here, who can drop in to this false 9 role. He can drop deep, he will come central, but when he does that from this position, he's not leaving a massive gap out wide. This time you've got Dembele out there, Messi will drop in, and this time Griezmann now will leave his space on the left-hand side. He'll go to the centre-forwards role, like Suarez used to be able to do, but he can't do anymore because he doesn't have the pace to do that anymore. He doesn't have the mobility to play on the left and then make those runs. Griezmann, though, does have the mobility. He can come from the left, he can go in central, and then you've got your number 9. And then all of that space for Jordi Alba then to make up that room, and he loves the entire side to him. And then also, when Jordi Alba goes forward, when he bombs on, you're not exposed defensively. You've got De Ligt here, a very good defender. He knows he can sense the danger. You can push Arthur slightly out wide. Busquets will drop in. Piqué there, and Semedo also is the more defensive fullback. But at the moment, if you play Semedo there and Dembele isn't on the right, suddenly there's a massive gap here on the right-hand side with nobody to fill it. But if you have it there, a bit more reserved, somebody there, a bit more defensive-minded, you've got Dembele on that right-hand side, Alba can go forward, and suddenly then the balance of the team is so much better. Griezmann can start on that left-hand side, he can start in a wider role, but he can eventually occupy that number 9 striker, but he is versatile. That's the big thing here. We're signing players who can be versatile, who can play in different type of roles, and I think next season, looking at that team, looking at the way it can be set up, looking at the options that we have, it is exciting. No matter what manager comes in, no matter what coach we have to set up like a Barcelona team without any fear. Go with 3 forwards, go with 3 in midfield, play the Barcelona way, the way we know we can, have that bravery, we have the ability, and very soon, I do believe, we will have the core of players to make something very, very special. But of course, guys, it is also down to you. So let me know in the comments down below what you think of this particular lineup. Like I say, there are players that will be outside the starting lineup which will still play. I'm not just ruling everybody else out, but I just like the look of this. I like the balance. I like the players. And certainly there, it does excite me looking at something like that with a view to next season. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think the likes of Griezmann, De Jong, De Ligt, what can they add to our squad next season? And what are you most excited about seeing? Thank you as always for joining me here today. Thank you for your comments. More videos, they'll be coming up soon. Don't worry about that. I'll see you then, guys. But until then, as always, Visca El Barça.